remember there were people being like, yeah, but then it would be too easy. But like, just make the enemies tankier accordingly. If allowing multiple characters means you're gonna end up doing like 5 times more damage in co-op, then make the enemies 5 times tankier, and that's fixed.
So one of the biggest Genshin defenders, 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝘁, just dropped a video titled, "Do you think it's worth it going back to Genshin?" Which, first of all, is already a hilarious premise, because the fact that we're even having this conversation tells you something, right? Anyways, the video itself, 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝘁 is responding to a viewer who basically asked, now that you've played Wuthering Waves, do you think it's worth it returning to Genshin? Now I have to say, if someone came to me with that question, my response would be simple. If you want to subject yourself to 10 hours of mental torture in a story quest that somehow manages to be both overwritten and painfully slow, who am I to stop you? If you enjoy watching your stamina bar deplete while running in a straight line out of combat, hey, go off. And if you like Venti mocking you, wouldn't gliding be faster? Then by all means, be my guest. Meanwhile, in Wuthering Waves, you can literally fly, but sure, let's pretend that these games are on the same level when it comes to movement and exploration.
They're both gacha games with much slower power creep than other gachas.
First of all, 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝘁 starts off by talking about how both games have slow power creep, which makes them viable for casual players. And on that point, sure, to some extent, he is right. Both Genshin and Wuthering Waves are slower in power creep compared to other gachas, and that does make it easier to step away from the game and come back later without feeling like all of your mains have turned into 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝘁 characters. The whole narrative about Wuthering Waves is only for hardcore sweats is completely overblown. If you have ever heard that, throw it straight into the garbage, because even free-to-play players can clear endgame content just fine. Unless, of course, you are Captain Cabinet, who somehow struggles to clear tower adversity with an S5 GN. In that case, I regret to inform you that you are a lost cause. Thoughts and prayers. Joking aside, Captain Cabinet still clears TOA with 30 stars perfection. Now, if we are comparing this to Genshin, yeah, it is true that some of its launch units are still viable till this day. Xiangling, for example, was so cracked that for a while, the meta was literally pull characters that work well with Xiangling. No, seriously, it was a legitimate strategy. Even today, people manage to clear content with 4-star teams, though it takes significantly more effort, you know, logically. But the point stands. Power creep is slow in both games.
You're likely still going to be able to clear stuff unless it's like heavily tailored towards a certain unit. And if you're not able to clear this one, it's just because none of what you have works against it. Right?
Then 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝘁 solidifies his point by saying that even if you only play once in a while, your characters won't become obsolete unless the end game is tailored to a specific unit. And honestly, that's even more true in Wuthering Waves than in Genshin. At least in Wuthering Waves, you don't need to worry about Hoyover sneakily designing Spiral Abyss floors to conveniently push you into rolling for the latest limited 5-star. But hey, I digress. The main takeaway is that the power creep isn't a problem here, and there are plenty of other things to criticize. And don't worry, we're getting to those.
If you're someone who likes playing games for the story, if you're someone who likes playing game for exploration, both Genshin and WuWa are going to scratch that itch.
Here, 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝘁 argues that both Genshin and Wuthering Waves have great stories and exploration. And while that sounds nice and diplomatic, let's be honest, one of these games have actually been trying in the recent updates, and the other is still shoving unskippable monologues down your throat like it's your mother on Valentine's Day. Wuthering Waves 2.0 story was phenomenal. Strong character writing, emotional weight, and actual sense of stakes. I was fully immersed. And the best part, if you don't care, you can skip it. Revolutionary, I know. It's almost like developers understand that not everyone wants to sit through hours of cutscenes every time they log in. Meanwhile, in Genshin, no skip button, no way out. You're gonna listen to every second of that dialogue whether you like it or not. And if you dare to click too fast, whoa there buddy, slow down. You might just miss Paimon repeating the same thing that the NPC just said. Now let's talk exploration. And I'm going to be very clear about this. Wuthering Waves' movement system completely dominates Genshin. This isn't even a hot take, this is just a fact. Or as Mr. Pokey liked to state it, no war, just facts. In Wuthering Waves, you can grapple, double, triple, quadruple jump, air dash, fly, do all of that with infinite stamina, and you can have them all for free. Meanwhile, here at Genshin, you're out here rationing stamina like it's a survival horror game, constantly debating whether climbing straight up a wall is worth the risk of slipping off and plummeting to your death, making specific team comps for exploration, filled with characters you probably don't like, and farming specifically for stamina foods for outside of combat, by the way. And that's just the baseline gameplay. We haven't even gotten to the part where Genshin has the audacity to monetize exploration, because fun fact, if you actually want to enjoy exploring in Genshin, you better be ready to drop some cash. Do you want to explore like one of the cool kids in Genshin Impact? You want to fly? You want to ride a motorcycle everywhere? You want to go faster? Oh my god, 𝗵𝗁𝗆𝗆 solves all of those problems for only $300. Yeah, that's right. You want the best exploration character they've ever released? Great. Oh, and by the way, I'd like to note that one 𝗵𝗁𝗶 isn't enough. To actually enjoy exploration and Genshin Impact with 𝗵𝗁𝗶, you need 7 copies of her. That's right, because for 1 copy, you can just ride it a little bit and then you turn to the normal version again. And you're like, oh, there's not enough. Like, why is it only like a little bit? There's a separate stamina on it and everything. And outside of the region, the stamina is even shorter. Now let's take a look at the C6 of this unit. Oh my god, it refills your energy if you're outside of combat. Why does it have to be in a C6 version? Yahweh knows exactly how to get these money from these plebs, because people like Bran Online will spend all of this money for this character even though he criticizes it. Oh my god, I hate that Genshin Impact does this predatory services. Oh, but I'm gonna C6 the next unit. What? 7 copies of 𝗵𝗁𝗶 goes up to $2,100 to make exploration tolerable. But sure, Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact have equally good exploration, of course. You're delusional. And anyways, where are the Genshin content creators in all of this? Silent. They just let it happen. No one talks about how outright predatory this is. And even if they do, they just C6 the character when the update drops. Imagine any other game telling you, hey, this is the basic act of playing feel miserable on purpose, but if you give us $2,000, we can fix that for you. People would riot. But because this is Genshin, no one's talking about it. This is sad.
I mean, I talk about this every time I talk about WuWa, but the biggest reason why I didn't end up getting that hooked on WuWa is because the devs were making it very clear the ways in which it wanted to be similar to Genshin, and the ways in which it wanted to be similar to Genshin, and the ways in which it wanted to be similar to Genshin were things about Genshin I don't like.
So let me get this straight. 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗵 doesn't play Wuthering Waves because it's similar to Genshin, a game he plays. That is quite literally circular logic. That's like saying, I don't eat pizza because it reminds me of pizza. What does that even mean? If Genshin is tolerable despite those flaws, why is Wuthering Waves unplayable for having some of the same mechanics? Let's not even forget that Wuthering Waves does it better. Of course, in some aspects, they are inspired by Genshin Impact, but oh my god, Wuthering Waves does it way better. Very, very easy comparison is the weapon banner. How do you look at Genshin's weapon banner and say, oh, it's okay, I don't mind losing $10,000 on it? Oh, Wuthering Waves' weapon system, when you get the weapon, you don't feel as good because it's guaranteed. Yeah, man, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, seek help. You feel me? Seek help.
Stop it. Get some help.
Like a lot of the decisions they made when it came to like changes from CBT2 to live and quote unquote bug fixes that are which is stuff that was like changed, not because it worked in a way that was different that was described, but because it worked in a way that was different than they intended, which is the sort of stuff that like they can call it a bug fix and it can be considered a bug fix, but in practice it's a change in mechanics. Right?
Are we talking about a video game or getting a degree in engineering? I thought the topic was whether a game is fun, not a deep dive into patch notes like we're debugging a software release. And then he brings up the changes from beta to live servers and bug fixes, and then saying that it's a problem or he doesn't like it. First of all, what changes? What bug fixes? If that is the standard, why is Genshin still playable to you after years of questionable balance patches and neglected mechanics? I don't remember anyone holding Hoyoverse to that standard when they let Dehya rot in irrelevance, or when they are still to this day have Geo characters interacting with Dendro in literally no way. Anyone remember Eula, by the way? Where is that character? It just sounds like a convenient excuse, because if we're talking objective changes, Wuthering Waves actively improves with every single update. Meanwhile, Genshin's biggest innovations are the new daily commission dialogue and loading screen tip explaining stamina consumption. Oh, hey, but sure, let's pretend Wuthering Waves is the one failing here.
Like, that made it clear to me that they were leaning more towards casual friendly gameplay. The only reason why I was interested in WuWa to begin with was the ways in which it was less casual oriented than Genshin. But they realized that being more casual friendly is more profitable. It's a good decision. Like, it's gonna make them more money. It's a smart thing for them to do, but it still makes me a little sad.
And now 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗵 said that he liked Wuthering Waves or had interest in Wuthering Waves because it was less casual than Genshin. But now he's complaining that it's becoming too casual, which is weird because even in its most casual state, Wuthering Waves is still sweatier than Genshin has ever been. Let's put this into perspective. Genshin Spiral Abyss, its only real endgame. Oh wait, I misspoke. The only endgame for years. It's just Spiral Abyss. Meanwhile, Wuthering Waves gives you hologram bosses, Tower of Adversity, Whimpering Waste. Oh my god, that new endgame, what? And the Elusive Realms, each of which demands way more effort and strategy than make sure you kill the Hydro Abyss Mage before the timer runs out. Ooh, you gotta use the light blue element to take off the blue color. What if you're colorblind? Anyways, there is an option for you to play Elusive Realm at 100 HP. If an enemy even thinks about attacking, you're gone. One stray AoE, one sneeze from the enemy, and immediately you are 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗁 YouTube channel.
I can't move, I can't do anything! I can't do anything!
So when people say that Wuthering Waves is too casual now, what does that even mean? Because it sure as hell isn't Genshin casual.
Games that have incentives for you to log in every day, to me, are more fun if they also have actual things to do every day outside of those incentives. And echo grinding can be incredibly fun, but the fact that it's gated behind daily resources makes it significantly less fun.
And then 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗵 claims that Wuthering Waves does not give players enough reason to log in daily. Fascinating, because if that's the problem in Wuthering Waves, then what exactly is Genshin's excuse? If anything, Genshin have mastered the art of making daily logins feel like a punishment. You log in, 4 fetch quests that a toddler could complete, spend some resin, and then realize, oh wait, I still have nothing to do. At least in Wuthering Waves, the game respects your time. You can farm echoes whenever you want instead of being told, oops, you hit your resin cap, I guess you're done for today.
Can you play more than one character in co-op yet? Or are you still only one character? Only one character? Yeah. That's another one of the issues, because the combat in WuWa is fun because of the swaps. Not being able to swap in WuWa is disappointing. It's sad.
And then there's this co-op complaint. He doesn't like it that players only get one character each. Hey 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗵, if that's your issue, you can ask for it in the feedback survey. Kuro Games actually listens to its players, unlike Genshin devs, who famously ignore every single complaint unless it's about Chongli or Nuvolette. Wait, do you see a pattern here? Oh, they only listen when money is involved. They only listen when they're afraid of getting sued. In Wuthering Waves, players ask for better movement, improved UI, more meaningful co-op, and guess what? Kuro is actually implementing those things. Meanwhile, Genshin fans have been begging for the loadout system for years, and they got something not even remotely close to that.
I remember there were people being like, yeah, but then it would be too easy. But like, just make the enemies tankier accordingly. If allowing multiple characters means you're gonna end up doing like 5 times more damage in co-op, then make the enemies 5 times tankier, and that's fixed.
Or you know what? Yeah, you are not allowed to have fun in co-op because Davinci would fire you. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to do here, man. And now his grand solution to improving co-op, make enemies tankier to balance difficulty. Wait. Didn't we all agree that bullet sponge enemies are awful in Genshin? We have spent years complaining about bosses with bloated HP bars who turn every fight into a time-wasting slog. But now that we're talking about Wuthering Waves, suddenly that's the answer? So riddle me this, Batman. You don't like Wuthering Waves because it copies Genshin in the ways you dislike. But your brilliant solution is to copy one of Genshin's worst mechanics. Amazing game design, 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗵. Just inflate the HP bar. Problem solved. Who needs engaging enemy AI or actual mechanical depth when you can just drag fights out for 5 extra minutes? This is exactly the kind of bad fate critique that makes zero sense. If Genshin was doing co-op so well, why do so many fights feel like a single player experience with extra steps? Maybe instead of trying to Frankenstein Genshin's worst mechanics into Wuthering Waves, we should recognize that Kuro Games is actually trying to innovate, and that's exactly why people are enjoying it. Alright, let's lay this out. 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗁 doesn't like Wuthering Waves because it's similar to Genshin in the way he dislikes, yet he plays Genshin. If the mechanics are that unbearable, why is one game tolerable and the other unplayable? And then he complains about Wuthering Waves is too casual, but it's objectively harder than Genshin. You cannot tell me that a game with hologram bosses, elusive realms, and TOA, and whimpering wastes is too casual, while praising Genshin, when you can boom color mix in your way out of 90% of the game and call it combat. And there's the daily login contradiction. He wants incentives to log in, but he also doesn't want daily gated content. So which is it? Because last I checked, forcing players to log in daily with resin caps and time gated events isn't a feature, it's a leash. You're a dog to 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗁. Wuthering Waves actually respects your player's time, and now that's a problem? Oh, and let's not forget co-op. He doesn't find it fun, but his solutions make no sense. His big idea to fix co-op is make enemies tankier, because we all know everyone loves a bullet sponge. He doesn't like them in Genshin, but apparently Wuthering Waves needs them. That's like saying, man, I hate traffic, so let's add more stoplights. At the end of the day, 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗵𝗁's reasons not to play Wuthering Waves make no sense. It's totally fine if he doesn't like the game, personal preference exists. But when your entire argument is a tangled mess of contradictions, it stops being a critique and it starts sounding like a bad faith nitpicking. If you're playing Genshin, you should at least acknowledge its massive issues. Because right now, a game like Wuthering Waves is offering a better experience for $0, and yet people are bending over backwards to defend a system that actively preys on them. But hey, if you'd rather glide instead of fly, spend $2,000 just to enjoy exploring and play the same content loop for years and years and years, who am I to stop you?